Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. I'm your host, Jeff Marconette Jr., the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, and I am here every week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. That whole thing confuses the crap out of me, but I am here to help you, and we want to have a conversation instead of making a presentation. So feel free to ask as many questions in the comments as you would like, and I will get them answered for you. Also, I ask you if you would please share this video with friends, invite people to watch this video, and post this video in as many groups as you can, but don't end up in Facebook jail. That's a bad thing. So I had Dean Forbes in the back room getting ready to go, and he just dropped off. So I hope everybody's day is going great. I know my day is going phenomenally. I didn't make it to the gym today, but hey, no big deal. I would like to say hi to Nicole, hi to Colleen, hi to Sarah, hi to, darn it, well, hi to my dad. And I don't know if I already said that or not, but hi to everybody out there. I hope you are enjoying this. Oh, hi, I missed you. But we will get started here momentarily. I know Dean is probably trying and fighting to get back on. Yeah, he just lost power. So that's not good. So I talk about the gym quite a bit, and I do go to the gym. Oh, well, there he is. He must have got power back. So with no further ado, with no further rambling, I would like to bring up Dean Forbes.
Hey Jeff, how you doing? You can't make this up, okay? So
I'm great.
That was crazy. That was
Electricity is a problem a lot of times. I know I had somebody named John Bull on one of my virtual events, and they have electricity because he lives in Kenya, Africa.
Yep.
But it's kind of sketchy and it's not really reliable. So he fell off quite a bit during the show, and it was worth it because it's so awesome to learn how other people live in their life, and I just find that valuable because it adds perspective to our lives.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, that's a great way to look at it, Jeff, and that's all good. I am back on. We are here together, and I'm ready to add some value here and deliver to your listeners. That would be great.
Awesome, Dean. So I have to ask you, first of all, if you would introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Okay. So my name is Dean Forbes. This you already know. What I do, I've been given a lot of names, a lot of titles, coach, life coach, guru, this, that, and the third. And I've had many titles, none of which I've ever given myself. The truth of the matter is that what I do is I'm obsessed with making an impact that matters. And most of my career has been about, and I recently just carved this out maybe like a year ago where I realized what I actually do. And what it is that I have mastered a formula that essentially allows you to have the kind of presence on stage that actually sells. When I say sells, I'm not talking about like being salesy. I'm talking about selling whatever it is that you're offering to people. So whether that be, a program that you're selling, or you're selling a product or a service, or you're simply selling, hey, hang out with me, be in a room, come to Sunday dinner. The bottom line is that my entire career, in terms of the coaching I've done and the companies I've worked for, I've taught other people how to master that same formula that is responsible essentially for about $60 million in sales over the last decade. So this is what I've been doing for the last 17 years of my life. And it started, I want to say, if I had to pick one moment in time when it started, it was when one of my first mentors outside my dad, long story short about how we met, but she asked to see me. We're at a symposium in Las Vegas, and she sent for me and said, I need to see you in my dressing room. So I go see her, all nervous, like, what does she want? And she said, Dean, I called you down here because I want to give you something that my pastor gave to me about 10 years ago. And she said, I'm going to give this to you because I see in you what he said he saw in me. And she gave me an index card. And when I flipped the index card over, there was one word on it, and the word was others. And she said, Dean, you are meant to speak into the life of other people. You're meant to lift other people. You're meant to help people come out of whatever dark spaces they're in and bring them into the light. You have the power and the influence to actually lift people out of darkness and bring them into the light and help them to see that there's a better way ahead. So that's where the essence of who Dean Forbes is today started. And what I will say to exclamate what I'm saying right now is that I am completely and totally obsessed with making an impact that matters. Period in the conversation. When I wake up in the morning, I think about that. So I lead with that in mind, and my KPIs are aligned in a way that allows me to do that on a daily basis. So that's where the essence of Dean's from, Jeff.
That's awesome. So Dean, I have to ask, what makes Dean Forbes Dean Forbes? I mean, what have you had to deal with? What have you had to overcome in your life to make yourself into this person you are now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And I've had that question before, and when I answer it, it's like, you try to think of all these things. But look, just so that I hope I penetrate those that are listening, we all have a space and things that we go through. And your trials and tribulations aren't my trials and tribulations. But here's what I will say that I think we all share in common. No matter what you do, you're gonna meet roadblocks in your life. And I think what has made me me is the fact that I've been able to dust myself off and get up again and keep trying. So what has made me me is the list and the slew of failures that I have behind me that I stand on to create the success that I've been able to create. And so I've been through adversities that I perceive to be probably some of the worst adversities. But the bottom line is that whatever adversity we go through that we think is like the worst, like hitting rock bottom, I felt like I hit rock bottom twice in my life. But the only reason I was able to come out of that is because I learned a long time ago that the most successful people in the world have a whole slew of failures that they can stand on when they're looking over the mountaintop and finally hit that success point. So, and failure is an event, not a person, but it is a great teacher. Having failings in your life, it has been a great teacher for me personally. So having overcome those things it galvanizes my mindset to be the type of person that says, hey, there's nothing that's ever going to keep me down. Will I ever get knocked down? Yeah, but nothing's ever going to keep me down because I know I'm literally 2 millimeters away from success when the waves come to try to knock me down like that. So I know I have to get up and continue going. So I would say determination for sure, and just having that spirit of just never giving up.
That is fantastic, Dean. Now, I happen to have a part of my motto in make every second count is sorry, my back started hurting there for a minute. I had to move. So I want to say hi to Brenda Ringwood and Mr. Darner. Mr. Darner was my 8th grade homeroom teacher. So that's cool. Pretty cool. But back to what I was talking about. I have this motto that failing does not make you a failure.
Right.
And I always say that unless you quit something, you're never a failure. See, I live by the motto that failing is failing, and you can learn from failing, and in fact, you better learn from failing.
That's
You
correct.
will just keep continuing to fail as you try and try and try and try. But if you give up, I think you become a failure. So
If you give up, yeah.
when you talk about failures and you talk about the failures in your life, you see, I don't think you've had failures. I think you have failed. I don't think you've had failures because you're still in the game.
Still in the
You're
game, yeah.
still alive. You're still kicking it. You live on the right side of the dirt. So while you might have failed, you're not a failure.
Absolutely true. I like the way you
I
brought that home.
I really want people to start thinking differently about that word, because I think failure carries a negative connotation.
It does. The moment you don't realize that failure is an event and not failing is an event and not a person, then it definitely carries a whole negative connotation that can bring you down. So if you recognize it as what it is, an event that you should learn from, it becomes a whole different ballgame, as you just said. So that's great.
All right, so sorry about that. I had
that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I love. I love the authenticity in the communication, which is great. That's value for people listening.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So you came to me in the first place in asking me if I wanted to increase my influence. And I feel that influence is a big thing in the world. But first of all, I want you to explain what you mean by influence.
So what I mean by influence is, the truth of the matter is, nothing moves without influence. So if you are you have the desire to even help somebody go from where they are to where they want to be. If you have the desire to want to put something in motion and you want to enroll people into your vision, that's going to help you see that to fruition. You have to be able to influence people to do that. So it means you have to be able to inspire. You have to be able to get into the hearts and open up the minds of people. If you can't win people's hearts, you can't open their minds. So the only way to win somebody's heart and open their minds is through your power of influence. And while there are like different techniques that people talk about to do that type of stuff, what I found is that yes, there is a science behind this. There's a psychology behind this. It literally changes your physiology when you apply it correctly and for the force of good. And I always say this to my students, is that a lot of what I'm going to teach you, you can use it for other purposes that are not necessarily good, because they still work. They do. So it's just a question of who's wielding the sword. And I only want to deal with people who want to wield the sword for good. So influence is by far the most important skill you could ever hope to improve if you ever want to do anything great and make an impact that matters. You need to be able to have the power of influence.
All right, so let me ask this question in a different way. So I actually have written a journal, and I know other people out there in the world have done things they're proud of and have things for sale. So how exactly can they increase their influence enough to sell that, to make that money?
Make that money. Yeah, of course. And so I'm glad you put it that way, Jeff, because most of the time what people do is, or what they've been taught to do, is I see people lead with income first. So income is the first thing on their mind. They lead with income, and that is either short-lived or actually goes nowhere really, really fast. Now, here's the thing. I've done both. I've led with income before and have it be short. Yeah, I made some money, but it was short-lived, or I made nothing at all. So over the years, more than a decade now, I've been practicing some very special habits. I've taken on some very special habits in order to create this platform for influencing for the right reasons. And tonight, I want to share with your listeners here just 5 of those key tips. They're simple enough, but they're not always so easy to do. You know, one of my mentors would say, being simple isn't always easy because this takes diligence. So if I can, I'll share these 5 tips, if you will, or 5 mantras I live with. You know, okay, so first and foremost, number 1 is, and this is, if you can't do this, your influence is going to be completely off. Okay. First thing is to lead with an impact first mindset. Okay. So,
with an impact first mindset.
Impact first mindset. So let me tell you what that means. That means that when you think of doing something, you have a vision, you have a dream, you have a goal. The first thing you do is you think of, okay, what impact am I trying to make? Who am I going to make it on? And is this a good thing? You know, what impact am I trying to make? So if you put that in perspective, you say, okay, you know what? I really want to write this journal, and I want people who, if they ever feel depressed, if they ever feel down, if they ever feel lost, you will use this journal to tell their story. So that's the impact I want to make. I want to help somebody get their story out. Well, great. If you lead with an impact first mindset, what it does is it inspires actions within you to not just go find resources, but to become resourceful, which is a very different thing. You know, there are resources, but you become resourceful. So that's the first thing. It's the impact first mindset. The second thing, this is a big one, Jeff. Ready for this? Yeah. Second thing is we have to learn to embrace our vulnerabilities. So what I mean by that is all the things that you think people are going to judge you for, or that you think are awkward about you, these are the things that humanize you and actually connect and endear people towards you. You can use your most powerful vulnerabilities as the most powerful connector in the world. People attach themselves to you if you can embrace your vulnerabilities. I had to do that when I was growing up because I'm Jamaican by birth and I have an accent. Well, I had an accent. I was 12 when I came to this country. You used to think people were going to judge me for that. And ultimately, I started to use my accent, or if it came out, it came out. And when I quote my dad in my programs, I talk in his Jamaican accent and people like it.
Yes.
Yeah, see? So I use that to just bring people closer to me as to the essence of me. So number 2, you gotta embrace your vulnerability. Okay. Number 3 is take your audience, your listeners, your clients, your employees, whoever you're talking to, take them on an epic adventure. So what do I mean by that? It's where you start with saying, hey, Jeff, can you imagine your journal going viral, not just in the US, but all across the 7 continents? What would that be like if you could see that in your mind with everybody reading it on all 7 continents? You know, so when I say take people on an epic adventure, I mean really open up the mind, say, what if this happened? Can you imagine? How would you feel if? What would it mean to you if you had X, Y, and Z taken care of? How would that change your life? You've got to take people on an epic adventure, because an epic adventure is going to include facts, logic, but most importantly, emotion. The thing that connects people to everything, emotion. Life is emotion. So you want to take them on an epic adventure. That's number 3. Number 4 is, yes, you take people on an epic adventure, but the 4th thing you have to do is you have to make them the hero in their own story. Yeah. So in other words, it's not about you, it's about them. So if I say, Jeff, imagine everybody across the world reading your journal and just loving it. Can you imagine what that would be like if you were standing there? What do you think they would say to you? How do you think you would have made them feel? I mean, what kind of impact would that do? What legacy would you be leaving? How would you feel if this was happening across the world and on your last breath, you knew that this journal would live forever? What would your eulogy sound like? See, you're the hero in that whole story. You see what I'm saying? So you got to make the person a hero. That's number 4. You want to influence people, make them the hero. You can help them along the way, but you've got to make them the hero because it's not about you. And number 5, which should go without saying, but people fail to do this many times, is you need to deliver massive value. Like right now on your show, I'm hoping that those people who are listening are receiving massive value from this. But my goal because I start with the impact first mindset, is to deliver massive value. How can I answer those questions for you? Have you ever really thought of these 5 things as a way to even influence people? Has anybody ever broken it down to you like this? Which part of the curtain would you like me to pull back now and explain it even more? This is what I mean by massive value, not holding anything back. So those are the 5. Impact first mindset, embrace your vulnerability, epic adventure, make them the hero, deliver massive value.
All right. So I want to show you something real quick.
Yeah.
So we have an international show going on right now because she is watching from Uganda.
Uganda. Yeah, baby.
All right. And then she says, awesome. Those are great ideas. Now, what is the best way to lead with an impact first mindset?
So the best way to lead with an impact first mindset, this is what I found to be the most effective when I think about it. I think about, you can never fathom the ripple effects of your actions that you take today. So you make a choice today to do something. You don't know the ripple effects of that action in terms of who it's going to touch and how far it's going to go. So when I think of that, I take very care of what impact I'm thinking of making. So Dean, if you do X today, do you have any anticipation, any belief, any part of you believe that this will be ill for anyone that this energy touches? And where focus goes, energy grows. So I put my focus in places that are meant to simply create goodness, greatness, better, progression, authenticity, just love, really. So the best way to have an impact first mindset is to consider the ripple effects of your actions and not think short term and think, well, I'm only going to do this today to this person and that's it. That's where it's going to stop. No, that person could be the kind of person that gets depressed. Maybe they're like the kid who went to school, got teased every day, and got bullied so much that he went to school, he was clearing out his locker. Some other kids saw him and said, hey, can I help you with your books? For the first time, somebody was kind to him. Well, that same kid that was cleaning out his locker ended up being the valedictorian at graduation. And at graduation, he said, this guy saved my life. He said, like he would say, Jeff, the day that you helped me with my books, I was cleaning out my locker. I was heading home to kill myself, and I didn't want my mom to have to come back here and clean out my locker. Think about the ripple effects of that. Yeah. So this kid was showing kindness a half an hour before he went home to deliberately kill himself. And that changed the trajectory of his life the entire time. So you want to lead with an impact first mindset? Think about what your actions are going to do to people. Think about what your intent is. I would say that you should form or come up with what I call KPIs, key performance indicators. I have 5 KPIs that I live by, and every decision I make, if they can't align with the KPIs, I don't do it. Simple. Wow. Impact
so now you have me curious. So what are your KPIs?
All right, so KPIs, and by the way, just so everybody knows, KPIs are personal. Like they need to move the compass inside of you to your true north, as what I want to call it. So the way my KPIs work is it's 5 I's really, and I start with intention. So if I start with a good intention, and I'm obsessed with total immersion in seeing that intention come to fruition, and I act always with integrity, then I will make an impact that matters, and I will obviously achieve an abundant income. So intention, immersion, integrity, impact, and income. Those are my 5 KPIs. That's how it works.
That is awesome. So, all right, how can, say a person is depressed, say a person lost all their money, say somebody else lost their house, lost a loved one. How can these things help other people in those circumstances?
Well, so that's a loaded question, Jeff, and here's the only reason why. So this is I would say it depends on how far gone your situation is or feels to you. So in other words, because one of the first things I would say to people is seek out a coach or a mentor of some kind to help stretch you or help open up your mind to different possibilities, because it's very hard for someone in certain situations to see immediately, hey, you know what? I need to do these 5 things, and that's going to help me get to the next level. If you're not a seeker of knowledge, and if you're not looking for a way to actually level up, then you could get crushed just by life, because your choice of inaction is in effect a choice, and the consequence of that choice, could be really, really bad for you. So, I think at the very least, if you have the wherewithal at all and you don't want to die, let me just be dramatic, you don't want to die, find a mentor. Find somebody who gives a crap about you, who will tell you the truth, and at the same time pull you up by your bootstraps and say, hey, you can do this. If you don't have anybody like that in your life, make a phone call, go to Facebook, reach out somewhere, stop at the shelter. I don't really care where you go or how you do it. Find someone. There you go. Find Jeff. Second, make every second count. So find someone that will speak truth to you, but will also hug you and say, hey, you can do this thing. You can do this. That would be the first thing, because everything that I teach, I'm sure it can help someone at any time, but not everything I teach can help everyone at whatever level they are. Do you know what I mean?
Wow, that's amazing. So I know this is kind of what I just asked you, but I'm going to ask you in a broader sense. Do you have any other tips for anybody that is going through anything?
Yeah, I do actually. I have 2, because this applies no matter what level you're at, and it applies no matter who you are or what you're going through, and it applies no matter what field you're in. So you need to do 2 things. You need to seek out knowledge, tools, people, and resources that will help to grow you. Okay, so because here's the thing, and here's the reason why this is important. You cannot solve a problem at the same level of awareness at which it was created. You cannot solve a problem at the same level of awareness at which it was created.
So raise your awareness.
Raise your awareness. So that's mean knowledge, tools, people, and resources. So you need to go find that. Become resourceful, go find that. That's the first thing. The second tip is execute. Take massive action. So because people say knowledge is power, well, that's not true. Applied knowledge is power. Okay? Taking action on knowledge is power. Executing on knowledge is power. So when you do the first part, you got the knowledge of the people and the resources and the tools. Don't just let them sit there in your toolbox and gather dust. Act. Because here's another truth. What you are aware of, you can act on. What you are unaware of will act on you. So the cost of inaction will certainly kill you faster than anything else on this planet. You got to take action. Those are 2 standing tips that goes any level, anyone, anywhere, going through anything in life. Knowledge, tools, resources, whatever that means, just things to grow you, and then you need to take action on them.
All right, so I now you have given me another question. How can someone find those tools? Say they don't like reading. Can they go and listen to things on YouTube or Spotify or Pandora or
there is no lack of resources or where you can find them, how they come packaged. So I mean, at the end of the day, you could read a book, you could listen to something, you could listen to people, you could listen to videos, you go to YouTube, go to Facebook, you could just type it into your Google, whatever, and something will pop up that you want to do. So if you don't want to read a book, you can listen to Audible. You could listen to a book, quite frankly. I do all of those things. I read books, I listen to YouTube, I listen to Audible, I listen to motivational stuff almost on a daily basis. So I do all those things because all I'm trying to do is feed my impact first mindset, and I have to preserve it and protect it too. So I don't stop putting stuff like that in my brain. The thing is, though, I only get better because I take action on all of these things and I stay diligent on that, so I can get better. Because if you just leave knowledge in your head, it's just a bunch of garbage, which means nothing if you're not acting on it. So
that's great advice. So guys, I have a point here. that you have to bear with me for a minute because I'm developing this in my mind as I'm going along. But can you imagine being the hero in your child's life? Can you imagine just opening your child's eyes and making a difference in their life or even possibly saving their life? Look, I have this journal and I promise you that you can be the change that your child needs to see just by teaching them to go through my journal. And let me tell you now that it will give your child perspective on life. It'll teach them to love life with gratitude and help them develop those long range goals on their life. Now, you can download the first 7 days of my journal for free. Absolutely free. You just have to enter some information on my website. And it tells you down here at the bottom that you can download the first 7 days of my journal for free at www.jeffmarconettejr.com/journal. And you can open your child's eyes and be the hero that makes their life amazing, helps them live their best life. So, in using Dean's tips, I just tried to develop that right there on the spot.
I heard that. That's great. That was awesome. That was awesome, Jeff. That's awesome.
Guys, if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments because we're not going to be here all night. We're here to help you, and we want to help you because we want to make an impact, and I want to help you make every second count. So if you have any questions about how you can do that, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Don't be afraid to reach out to Dean. And that brings me to another point, Dean. How can people get in touch with you if they want to?
So the best way for people to get in touch with me right now is easy. Just use Messenger on Facebook and message me. That's the easiest way to do it. And I find that the simplest way is sometimes the best. You don't need to go to a website and go through a whole bunch of stuff. I'm touchable. And I'm going to try to remain as touchable as possible no matter how much my career grows because I know how easy it is to get lost in the sea of things. So just reach out to me on Messenger and say, hey, Dean, I'd like to talk to you about XYZ or that thing that you said. If you have any of these dreams that you want to, maybe you're doing some things right now, you want to take your game to the next level, you want to increase your impact, you want to have greater influence, you want to master the PTI playbook, as I call it. If you want to do that, just shoot me a quick message on Instant Messenger. And I'll shoot you back like Calendly, and you could set up some time with me. Easy.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Dean, for taking the time out of your night to be here with me and my people. And I find it amazing, and I want to increase my influence in the world as well. So I'll be reaching out to you definitely.
Thank you for that, Jeff. I appreciate being here.
But I need everybody out there, including you, Dean, to do me a favor. Tonight, for the rest of the year, and then for the rest of your life, I need you to make every second
count. Will do.
Why?
That is the promise.
Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, guys, I'm Jeff Marconette Jr., the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, reminding you that we are here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're here to help you. So, have a great night, and remember that you need to make every second count.